Not by a board of directors. Not by shareholders. But by one man. This is the story of Vladimir Putin. Not the soldier, not the politician, not the president, but the CEO of Russia, Inc. In this documentary, we won't focus on politics or wars. Instead, we'll pull back the curtain on the business empire Putin has built, the people around him, the secret flows of money, the offshore networks, the sanctions that didn't work, and how, despite being surrounded and banned by half the world, the system still survives. Let's dive into how Vladimir Putin transformed power into profit, and built a state that operates more like a billion-dollar private enterprise than a public institution. From KGB to CEO mindset before the private jets and billion-dollar palaces, there was Leningrad. Putin was born in 1952 into a humble Soviet family. As a young man, he didn't show signs of charisma or genius. But he was methodical, cold, and loyal, traits that led him into the KGB, the Soviet Union's infamous spy agency. For years, he operated as a low-level intelligence officer in East Germany. There, he learned two important things. Information is power. Loyalty is a currency. When the USSR collapsed in 1991, Putin was left jobless and adrift in a country that no longer knew what it was. But while others mourned the empire, Putin saw something else, an opportunity. The first hostile takeover, Putin's rise to power by the mid-90s, Russia was ruled not by law but by oligarchs. These were businessmen, many former Komsomol and party members, who used the chaos of the post-Soviet collapse to grab entire industries: oil, gas, metals, banks. The Kremlin was weak. Corruption was everywhere. The ruble was worthless. Putin, then working for the mayor of St. Petersburg, was known as the guy who could get things done. Not flashy. Not famous. But useful. And that's exactly why, in 1999, President Boris Yeltsin appointed him as prime minister, and shortly after, acting president. The oligarchs thought they could control him. They were wrong. Eliminating competition. How Putin neutralized the oligarchs within his first few years in power. Putin executed a move that every ruthless CEO understands: consolidation. He called the oligarchs to a meeting. The message was simple. You can keep your billions, but stay out of politics. Those who obeyed became allies. Those who didn't, lost everything. Take Mikhail Khodorkovsky, then the richest man in Russia. He challenged Putin publicly. Days later, he was arrested. His company, Yukos, was dismantled. Its assets? Absorbed by state-controlled Rosneft. Lesson learned. The new business model was clear. Loyalty equals protection, dissent equals destruction. Russia as a corporation. Over time, Russia stopped operating like a country and started functioning like a vertical monopoly, with Putin at the top. He placed loyal allies, mostly ex-KGB friends from his days in St. Petersburg, into powerful positions. Igor Sechin at Rosneft, Alexei Miller at Gazprom, Sergei Chemezov at Rostec, Yuri Kovalchuk in media and finance. These men were not technocrats. They were enforcers. Each one controlled a strategic sector of the economy: oil, gas, weapons, media, banking. Each one owed everything to Putin. And together, they became the board of directors of Russia Inc. Their mission: maximize wealth, secure the empire, and protect the boss. Energy. The real goldmine. Russia's greatest asset is not its tanks, it's its natural resources. Under Putin, Gazprom and Rosneft didn't just sell oil and gas. They became tools of geopolitical leverage. If a country aligned with the Kremlin, they got cheap energy. If they didn't, the pipelines dried up. Meanwhile, profits from these companies were siphoned into secret bank accounts, offshore companies, mega yachts, palaces, quiet investments in Western assets. Estimates suggest that Putin's personal fortune could be worth over $100 billion, though it's hidden through proxies and offshore trusts. The question isn't if he's rich. It's how deep the web goes. Offshores, shells, and shadow money. Thanks to leaks like the Panama Papers and Pandora Papers, we got a rare glimpse into how money moves inside Putin's empire. Everything is kept off the books. Real estate bought in Switzerland and London via shell companies, art collections hidden under friends' names, yachts registered in Caribbean jurisdictions, entire networks of lawyers, bankers, and fixers who move cash invisibly, but the common thread in all of it: loyalty. The people listed on paper aren't real owners. They're trustees. Soldiers. Ghosts. Continued. Putin loyalty pyramid. At the core of Russia Inc. lies a pyramid, not of power, but of favors. Everything flows from the top. If you're loyal, you get rich. If you step out of line, you disappear. This system resembles a mafia hierarchy. There's no official contract. Just mutual understanding. Obey, and you'll be taken care of. Betray, and you're expendable. Everyone in Putin's circle, oligarchs, governors, ministers, is part of this structure. It's not about ideology. It's about survival. Building a cult of strength to maintain control over this empire. Putin needed more than money, he needed image. And so began the construction of the strongman myth. Judo black belt, bare-chested hunting trips, ice hockey games at age 60, carefully scripted interviews, state-run media portrayed him as irreplaceable, invincible, eternal. And the people bought it. Because in the chaos of the 90s, Putin offered something seductive: stability. Sanctions, strengthening the empire? When the West hit Putin's empire with sanctions, after Crimea, after Navalny, after Ukraine, they thought they were hurting him. But here's the twist: sanctions may have helped him. Why? They allowed Putin to shift blame for economic problems onto external enemies. They forced oligarchs to bring their wealth back home. They deepened the internal loyalty system, because those on the inside were now locked in. Putin turned isolation into a tool. Chapter 10. The Future of Putin Inc. As of today, Putin Inc. is still operational. Cracks are showing: internal dissent, a struggling economy, rebellion among elites, but the machine runs. Will it collapse from pressure? Or evolve into something even more opaque? No one knows. But one thing is certain: Putin's legacy won't just be political. It will be financial. He redefined what it means to run a country, not as a president, but as a CEO. And he built a model that others around the world are watching closely.